thousands of Nigerians fleeing Boko Haram create a regional food and nutrition crisis. Meet the Ghanaian chef whose passion for making local and continental dishes has earned him the title of best chef in town. And no more Bruce, meet Caitlyn Jenner. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. The northeastern Nigerian city of Maiduguri has come under attack on Tuesday. According to Reuters, an eyewitness and a hospital source say a bomb exploded in a busy meat market, killing as many as 50 people. The device was apparently concealed under a butcher's table when it detonated, killing shoppers and travelers. Well, meanwhile, following talks in Paris with French President François Hollande, the president of Niger says Boko Haram is also high on their agenda.
We also talked about the situation in the southern part of the country, where Boko Haram is operating in the Lake Chad area. We think that in the weeks to come, with the new administration that is taking charge in Nigeria, a multinational force will become operational.
Well, Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has announced that he plans to move the command of the military operation from the capital Abuja to Maiduguri. Boko Haram launched an attack last Saturday on Maiduguri that killed at least 26 people. Now, the United Nations Food Agency says violence by the terrorist group Boko Haram is causing thousands of Nigerians to flee to neighboring countries, creating a regional food and nutrition crisis. Boko Haram fighters seized control of a swathe of northeast Nigeria last year, killing thousands in an unprecedented land grab. Boko Haram is forcing people from their homes and across borders, creating a regional food and nutrition crisis. Close to 200,000 people are seeking refuge in neighboring Niger, Cameroon, and Chad.
They burnt our houses and all our food. We were sleeping in the bush. There was no place to stay. That's why we are here.
Thousands of refugees had been living with local communities and relying on them for food. But the onset of the dry season and consequent food shortages are fueling more displacement. World Food Programme officials said malnutrition rates for children in northern Cameroon are usually around 9%, but now in some areas they're up to 36%. The UN considers rates above 15% critical.
WFP is doing everything it can. We are helping both the refugees and the people displaced within the country, but we need more support.
Nearly 500,000 people living in the areas affected by the Nigeria crisis face an acute food insecurity and livelihood crisis. The WFP said it might have to reduce rations later in June if funding doesn't improve. In the Central African nation of Burundi, tensions are high and the future is uncertain. Africa 54's Esther Githui-Ewart has more.
Burundian police fired on protesters in the streets of Bujumbura Tuesday in renewed protests against President Pierre Nkurunziza's decision to run for a third term. A weekend summit of African leaders failed to convince Mr. Nkurunziza to halt his bid. Meanwhile, the turmoil is taking its toll on locals in terms of education and economic activity.
Ive Mugisha owns a cell phone shop in the capital's central business district and has opened his store only 3 times in the past 2 weeks. He says sales have dropped.
People don't come here anymore, even us. We only come because we can't just stay in the house and do nothing. So we open once in a while, hoping we can sell something.
The central business district has largely escaped the worst of the recent violence, but 2 grenade attacks last week have sparked fears that the area is unsafe. Most people are choosing to stay home. In the suburbs where most of the protests have occurred, few people are venturing into the streets. Police watch from a distance, ready for another clash. Schools have been closed for 2 months despite repeated announcements by the Ministry of Education that classes should resume. Teachers from a school in Cibitoke, who are too scared to speak to the press, say they go to school every day hoping pupils will show up for class. Business owners such as Mugisha hope the postponed elections and the disarmament efforts will facilitate a solution to the crisis.
The crisis is the worst since the end of an ethnically fueled civil war in 2005. Vincent?
Well, Well, thank you, Esther. Now, let's take you back to West Africa. Since an armed conflict shook the southern region of Senegal in the late 1990s, the area has sustained economic hardship. Mel Bailey takes a closer look to how the region is recovering.
In Casamance, the sub-region of Senegal, locals and activists are urging refugees to come back and start rebuilding after over 70% of the population fled some 30 years ago due to a rebel uprising caused by opposing views on regional succession from the country. Since then, the economic development of the region has halted. Musa Daidu, native of the village Mungalan, fled and was displaced for 10 years.
I want to ask everyone from the community to come back to where they were. If no one comes back, it won't be Casamance anymore. But if people come back to where they were before, to start working and try to forget what happened, it can be Casamance again. Each year, if you come back to what was left aflame and start to build again, that will be Casamance. I want to tell everyone who comes from the region to come back and work, come back and rebuild our home.
Political activists and non-profit organizations estimate that today nearly 80% of families who could have returned to their native villages. But vendor Malik Ngam says economically, Casamance is very far off from where it once was.
Before, when you sold a product, there were so many people to sell to, but now the clientele is gone. They've all fled. The other difference is that us, the people of the village, weren't afraid to go into the forest to get what we used to sell, banana leaves, fruit, etc. But now, because of the conflict, people are still wary about going into the forest to get anything. It's impacting the local economy.
The Association for Rural Promotion for the District of Niassia has been active in peace talks and refugee placement for over 15 years. They have discovered that financial partners like citizens want to come back to the region, and they are working to reassure everyone that soon Casamance will again be a peaceful region.
We are advocating for the stability of the region so the financial partners come back to Casamance. There is the want, the desire to turn one's back on the crisis, on everything that has happened.
Approximately 78 villages have completely disappeared from the map of Senegal. At least 150,000 people have lost everything, but rebuilding and demining throughout the region persists, and the population is hopeful that soon, with partners like APRAN, Casamance will once again flourish.
Well, now Mel Bailey is back in the U.S. for a few days and joins me to tell us more about reporting from Senegal. Now, welcome to Africa 54.
Hi, Vincent. Thank you.
Great to be here. A nice piece there on Casamance. For some who may have forgotten about that conflict or maybe don't know about it, how can you quickly describe that to them? What was it all about?
Okay, well, it all started when the MDFC, or the Movement of Democratic Forces in Casamance, decided that they had just had enough because the region of Casamance is so different from the rest of Senegal. Religiously and culturally speaking, they just wanted succession from the country. And so they got together and decided to start taking what was theirs. And a lot of people were killed and a lot of people fled.
That's so sad. Now, you've been telling stories from Senegal. Can you describe for me how the environment is in terms of, the kind of stories you can get out of that country?
It's just so rich culturally, with languages and just the people that you can meet in the markets, everything. So it's definitely not been difficult finding any stories to tell, let me tell you that much. But like any other country, there are some problems. I mean, I recently did a story about the youth unemployment, so that's an issue. But overall, they're just trying to get self-sustainable living for imports and everything else. So they're doing well.
And very quickly, though, there was that conflict in Casamance, but Senegal is fairly a stable country in that region.
Yes, it's a democratic society. They've elected several presidents, and right now President Macky Sall is doing everything that he can to keep the region stable.
You want to continue staying there?
Yes,
Reporting
I do.
from there?
Yes, I do.
Mel, we look forward to so many of you. Fantastic reports.
Thank you very
from
much.
There. Well, Mel Bailey is Africa 54's Senegal-based reporter. Thank you. Throughout this week, we are taking a closer look at the Star Tides infrastructure for emergency support and disaster relief recently on exhibit in Washington at the Defense University. Today, VOA's Caroline Turner explores temporary shelter.
One of the most basic necessities needed after a disaster is shelter. Start Tides exhibited several temporary shelters that could be rapidly shipped and deployed by military and relief workers.
Post-disaster or even in various sorts of post-conflict situations, you've got different examples down this row here of different kinds of buildings that are different inventors' approaches to providing quick, simple, relatively cheap shelter. So in a post-hurricane situation or something like that, some of these might be solutions that people could look at.
Visible Good is a new company that offers a portable building that can withstand tornado force winds. Founder John Rossi gave VOA a tour.
It goes together with two people in about a half an hour with no tools, no hardware. It only goes together one way, so you can't do it backwards or upside down. And it ships in a crate that actually unfolds and is the floor. So you don't lose any parts, there's nothing left over when it's built, and at the end of the day, if you need to take it away, you fold it all back up again, it all goes back in its crate, and away it goes.
The building is lightweight and easily shipped, costs about $15,000 US, and can be easily camouflaged.
Well, as you can see, it's an applique that goes over the basic panels, and so in minutes you could take this thing from being a forest camouflage building to a desert camouflage building just by putting on the appliques. Our wall system is actually constructed of a lightweight polypropylene honeycomb, and so it weighs practically nothing, but it's incredibly rigid and strong. It also doesn't warp, it doesn't check, doesn't support mold or mildew growth, and in our medical applications you could bleach the whole thing and disinfect it entirely in minutes.
The structure's multi-use capability gives the owner a variety of options.
The way the building is put together with these arched rafters, you actually end up with a 9-foot ceiling in here, which is incredibly useful for people, first of all, who are very tall, but secondly, if you need to hang equipment from the ceilings, medical lighting, oxygen, that sort of thing. Currently our military is deploying in Africa for the Ebola situation. We received an emergency RFI for that. They could buy this unit just like it looks. It's a module, could be added onto other ones to make a much bigger unit, and it could be used for almost anything. Put medical equipment in it, you have a hospital.
So you want something that's going to be around for more than a year. Really, the average for reconstruction post-earthquake is 3 to 5 years before people are actually moved out of their temporary houses into real permanent homes. Doesn't happen quickly, particularly not overseas.
Visible Good shelters are available online, and they are also found in the U.S. government's General Services Administration schedule, where governments from all over the world find equipment and tools that can be used for disaster preparedness. Carolyn Turner, VOA News.
Well, in part 3 of our Start Tide series, Caroline Turner will explore the technology that provides the most important resource of all, drinkable water. Now, I want to know what you think about Africa 54 on the stories we covered during the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, a Ghanaian chef tempts choosy customers with local and continental cuisine. Stay with us.
This is Greenbeat.
It's okay to be fake in California. One of its main industries practically thrives on it. So why not lawns? Especially since California has been in the midst of a severe drought for the past 3 years, prompting Governor Jerry Brown to announce statewide water restrictions.
And that demands unprecedented action.
Synthetic grass used to be just for golf courses or athletic fields, but many Americans love the look of lush green grass.
The product feels, looks, smells like real grass.
Peter Lord is with Chesapeake Bay Synthetic Landscapes, which sells Synlawn products.
The water deficiency out there is so important. The state is offering up to $3 a square foot to help offset the cost of installing this.
Water-free lawns may be just a drop in the bucket to California's water woes, though. 80% of the state's water goes to agriculture, and farms are largely exempt from the new restrictions. I'm VOA's Rebecca Ward for Greenbeat.
Welcome back. Lionel Madu is off today. Now, when the Ebola epidemic hit West Africa, some healthcare systems just collapsed. Attention was then focused on the shortage of health workers in countries with the poorest health indicators and the potential impact on those countries' ability to fight disease and provide essential life-saving interventions. The World Health Organization estimates that the current workforce in some of the most affected countries in sub-Saharan Africa would need to be scaled up by as much as 140% to reach international health development targets. For some insight into the value of training health workers and the critical role they play, I'm joined by Mariatu Kagbo, president and founder of Global Health College in the U.S. state of Virginia. Ms. Mariatu.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, we're talking about a dire shortage of health workers in Africa, and you are in the business of training health workers. First, tell me, what led you into this?
I believe that what I do is it's a calling. You know, many years ago, my parents had encouraged me to take their paths, you know, one in business and one in nursing. And so I decided to satisfy both of their requirements. And so with the passion to follow the footsteps of my parents and the passion to educate others, I've been referred to as an educational student, professional student. Yes. So I decided that opening a college to offer the privilege of lifelong learning to so many people was imperative.
You are a native of Sierra Leone, one of those countries that were seriously affected by the Ebola epidemic. How did your observation of how things were happening and the need for health workers influence, or at least make you think about what you're doing in training health workers?
Yes, absolutely. From watching from outside, it appears there was a lack of either education, in the sense that the healthcare practitioners did not know how to prevent the spread of the disease. But most importantly, the citizens in the country were not informed of the detrimental effect of the disease.
Mm-hmm. Now, tell us about what kind of training you're providing in your college right in the United States.
Okay. Several different programs, starting from a 1-month program to nurse aide, you know, nursing assistant, to practical nurses and the associate degree level and the bachelor's level in nursing.
When we think about health, the health sector, we think of doctors right up there. Every young kid wants to be a doctor. Tell us the value, the role of a healthcare worker below a doctor.
Absolutely. I say to my students all the time that it is important to understand your role that you play in your patient's life. As the nurse, you are with the client 24 hours. The physician comes in about 10, 20 minutes and they leave. So absolutely the nurses are, I believe, are the heroes of the healthcare professional.
Mm-hmm. They do quite a lot.
Absolutely.
Now somebody might say, well, Mariatu is in Northern Virginia, or rather in America, in Virginia. What is the relevance, for instance, with people in Africa? What does your training do to help those who are in Africa?
It's amazing. Many of our students have migrated from Africa, and so the goal is for them to become educated and gain experience and return to their individual homes. Mm-hmm. So yes, educating nurses and myself, my plan is to travel to Africa and offer some of the services that I've gained over the years.
Yes, mm-hmm. and you have an opportunity to train people not only from Sierra Leone,
but nationwide. It's Global Health College.
Yes. Global Health College. And they can not work here, but also take some of the skills back home. What's your vision in very few seconds?
I want to give to people the opportunity to be self-reliant. And I believe the most powerful tool for anyone to remain, reliant on their own self is to be educated. Mm-hmm. So,
thank you very much for sharing these insights. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, Mariatu Kagbo is president and founder of Global Health College in the U.S. state of Virginia. Well, now, if you appreciate authentic Ghanaian food, then you have something in common with Joseph Kony Mensah, founder and owner of Ultimate Bar and Restaurant in Teshie, Accra, Ghana. He's a chef whose passion for making local and continental dishes has earned him the title of Best Chef in Town. VOA's Paul Ndio visited with him and has our report.
Ghana has a rich culture, one that it has managed to hold on for centuries. This culture is reflected in Ghanaian cuisine. It features traditional dishes from each ethnic group, tribe and clan. Most Ghanaian dishes are comprised of a starchy portion and a sauce of fish, goat meat or beef stew. This trendy event is evident at the Ultimate Bar and Restaurant.
We operate every day, Monday to Sunday. Our main dishes are local, continental, and Chinese. With the local, we have our local dishes known as fufu, banku, everything local that Ghanaians eat.
Founded nearly 7 years ago by Joseph Kony Mensah, this restaurant is now generating a buzz for its great food and attracting hundreds of people every day and weekend for live music. Now, Mensah is expanding his brand. He recently acquired a custom mobile kitchen that caters for outside catering, parties, and wedding receptions.
We have grilled chicken, and fried rice, jollof, ultimate special rice. But among all, the chicken sauce or beef sauce move faster.
His ambition to own a restaurant started when he was a young man. He mastered his craft in London and the US, where he worked in different kitchens before he moved back to his native country to launch the Ultimate Bar and Restaurant.
I started small, but as time moved on, at least the place that I was doing, my time got closer, so I moved into my own house.
Customers here are spoiled for choice, sampling everything from banku and everything local Ghanaians eat. Assistant Chef Benjamin likes preparing fried rice and pizza.
If I have my leisure time, I move around to work with small people to train them, for them also to become like me, because it's through him before I also become like this.
Monica Anawi has been working here since the restaurant opened. Her specialty is making traditional foods like okra stew. She says that she enjoys bringing a smile to people's faces.
People can say, oh, your food is nice, it's very tasty. Then when they say that about you, you feel good, you feel proud. The next time, you make sure you do the way you did it first, they didn't complain about it.
The Ultimate Bar and Restaurant employs more than 30 full-time workers and has positioned itself as the best place to work for in the area. Experts say the eatery has the potential to grow beyond Accra and spread to other cities, hungry for a real taste of Ghanaian cuisine. Paul Ndiho, VOA News.
Well, it's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54. Goodbye, Bruce Jenner. Hello, Kathleen. We'll be right back.
If you've just joined us, I'm Mariama Diallo, and here is a quick recap of today's headlines. The United Nations World Food Programme warns of an acute regional food crisis in northeast Nigeria as people flee Boko Haram. In Nigeria, at least 69 people are burned to death in the southeastern part of the country after a petrol tanker lost control and rammed into a busy bus station. In South Africa, the government's tax department withdraws its legal case against opposition leader Julius Malema, allowing him to keep his seat in parliament. In Madagascar, the president challenges a parliamentary impeachment vote, arguing that it threatens the country's stability. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Welcome back to Africa 54. Here's what's trending. The person you knew as Bruce Jenner has broken the internet, and she asks that you now call her Caitlyn. For her big coming out party, she posed for a series of alluring photos for Vanity Fair magazine. Famed photographer Annie Leibovitz shot the first images of Jenner as Caitlyn in her Malibu home for the July issue. In April, Jenner sat down for an interview with ABC News' Diane Sawyer to reveal that the former Olympian had the soul of a female. E!, home of the family's reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians, will air the 8-part series about Jenner's transition starting July 26th. And in other Kardashian-related news, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are expecting a second child. Kim revealed the big news in a clip that appeared after Sunday's episode of the E! reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The news followed an episode of the show documenting her fertility struggles, in which she confided that an attempt to conceive through an in vitro fertilization had failed. No one does publicity like the Kardashians. And finally, ouch! Enrique Iglesias is recovering after his fingers were sliced when he grabbed a drone during a concert in Mexico. During live shows, Iglesias sometimes grabs a drone to show the audience a point of view angle. A representative for the singer says that Iglesias was semi-treated after the accident at the side of the stage to stop the bleeding on Saturday night. He was advised to end the show, but went on to perform for 30 more minutes. Fans uploaded pictures and video of the incident, which immediately went viral. Iglesias' rep says the 40-year-old was later rushed to the airport, and he's now seeing a specialist in Los Angeles. And that's what's trending today. Vincent, back to you.
Well, thanks a lot, Esther. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. For more news, tune in to VOA's evening radio show, Africa News Tonight at 1800 UTC. And in the mornings, to Daybreak Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks a lot for watching from all of us here in Washington. Have a good night.
Welcome to the Voice of America's Newswords, where we teach you about words you hear in the news.
This word has to do with helping people after Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines.
The U.S. military and the Australian government have deployed supplies and rescue personnel to the Calayaban and surrounding areas, and the U.S. says it is providing $20 million in humanitarian aid.
The word humanitarian means showing concern for other people.
The United States provided search teams, food, water, and medicine as part of its humanitarian help to the Philippines after Typhoon Haiyan struck their country in 2013.
Now, when you hear humanitarian, you will know what this news word means.